flight was a major hell. But look at this terminal. Look at that thing. Look at the ceiling. That is so cool. They do things big here. That's a hint. But that flight was the worst flight I've ever been on in my life. Not so much, well, kind of the plane contributed to it, but man, I was sick. And the food, ugh, that's what made me sick. Was so horrible. I had this vegetarian meal, and it tasted good, but it gave me the biggest gas. Like, it was horrible. And normally when I fly, I always get an aisle seat because that's where I want to sit, so I can just get up and, get up and do what I want to do when I want to do it. But this time, because I hadn't been to some of the destinations, I was like, you know what, I'll sit by the window so I can, check it out, and do that. But I got this horrible gas and cramp pain, and it was constant. It was like every 2 or 3 minutes, I would get this big, huge gas pain, and my stomach felt so bloated. I had to unbutton my jeans, and I had that airline blanket on me. I mean, I felt big and heavy and bloated, and it was just like, oh my gosh, now get this. It felt so bad. And it wasn't like I felt like I had to go poo. It wasn't like that. It was just like this huge gas. So, obviously I'm not the kind of person that feels comfortable just farting, whether it's a loud fart or it's a stinky fart. Like, I really don't feel comfortable doing that in public. And so every time I feel those big bloats of gas, like that would be a big fart and a stinky fart. So I would process each fart, or gas. I would try to do it so it wouldn't have an exploding effect or a smell effect. And the one thing that puzzled me is, how come if you process your gas, when I say process, meaning if I, don't let it just explode out, it actually doesn't stink. But when I was so tired, and so I would kind of doze off. But I was trying not to, because every time I'd start to doze, then a stinky fart would come out. It was so embarrassing. It wasn't thank goodness it would just stink for a second and leave. It wouldn't be sitting there and burning up the whole place, because that would have been really embarrassing. But I know the guy next to me probably smelled it, but he was sleeping, so maybe he didn't. But I was just mortified. So that meant that I couldn't sleep. That meant I had to stay awake to catch every single gas release. And I was just exhausted. I had planned on sleeping on that long, long flight for 8 hours. The flight was longer than 8 hours, but for 8 hours, I was in this horrible, horrible situation where I couldn't sleep because I was just processing gas constantly. And I didn't know. I remember looking at the clock and seeing that I had 5 more hours of flying and wondering how the heck I was going to get through that. It was I was so sick. I was so sick. I just couldn't even handle it. And the guy next to me is totally sleeping for hours, just totally out. I guess he wasn't smelling my farts, because you'd think that he would be waking up. And then the other thing, it was as if I was in bed with this guy. It was the seats were so small that they really were not sufficient for long flights. That was really suck. So the seats were really close. And so he was moving, and it was almost his leg would be against my leg, or his butt would be over next to me, or his arm would be on me. And I was like, dang, it's as if we were a couple in bed. That's how close he was. And I was like, ew, that was gross too. So I was trying to move away from him. And then, when you're on those overnight flights, the flight attendants, they try to stuff you with food, and so you'll go to sleep. And that's what they want you to do, is sleep. So they'll just keep stuffing you with food. So if you're awake, they'll keep coming by and giving you stuff to eat. So I'm sitting there, and they were passing something out, and I thought he was passing out a warm rag, because they do that, throughout the flight. And so I went to take it, and I noticed it was some kind of food thing. I was like, what's this? And I realized it's a Klondike ice cream bar or something. I was like, oh my God, my stomach was hurting so bad. There was no way I wanted to eat an ice cream bar. I'm trying to get his attention to get this thing, because now what? It's just going to melt because I can't eat this thing. It was just like, oh my gosh, it was horrible. And then they were passing out all this other food. I was like, don't even hand me anything. And so I was so miserable. I mean, I can't even describe. I don't know how I was going to make it all those hours. And finally, about an hour and a half before we were getting off the plane, they bring around one more round of food. Then I'm thinking it'll probably be breakfast or something, but regardless, I wasn't eating because my stomach was just like, no way. I didn't even want to drink. I asked if they had herbal tea, and she's like, yes. And I said, what kind? She goes, black tea. And I'm like, that's not herbal tea. Never mind. No, I didn't want it. I didn't want anything. So anyway, they bring this food, and the guy next to me gets his food, and I look at it, and it's like a replay of what made me sick, except probably a different flavor, but it looked like the same kind of thing, and it smelled, and I was just like, oh my God, they're making people eat that for breakfast. And the guy was like, I don't know how he could eat that. And I was just like, oh God, I don't even want to smell that or look at that. That is disgusting. So when I got off the plane, I really was like, oh my gosh. I went to the bathroom, and like I said, it wasn't like I needed to like go. I did a little bit of poo, if I want to be honest with you, a little bit, but it wasn't like I needed to go like a big poo or diarrhea or anything. It was just like this gassy gas thing. And then I started feeling a lot better just, you know, being inside of the terminal and stuff. And so then I still was just a little bit gassy for the rest of the trip, but it was nothing like that. Like, I just knew I have to watch what I'm eating, because, I mean, I didn't think it was bad though. It tasted good. It was just cooked vegetables and rice, and I don't know why that happened. That was weird. But it was totally miserable, and that's why I missed out on all my sleep, because I planned to sleep that flight. And now I'm going to make sure that when I come back that I change my seat to the aisle, because I don't want to have to be stuck next to somebody who's sleeping that I cannot get out. But it was really, really bad, and it was just miserable. It was really, really miserable. And I couldn't relax, and it was just not a good situation. And now I'm in this crazy airport. But the ceiling's really cool in this terminal. Check it. That's really neat. It's mosaic. Alrighty then, moving right along. Seems like I've been going for days already, and I'm having problems uploading the videos, so I'm going to try again here because I have a bit of a wait. All right, everyone. Lines to the front of me, and lines to the back of me. I shouldn't do that. And lines to the back of me. It seems like I can't count how many lines I've been in so far in the last few days. But it's been a lot of lines, and a lot of long lines. So here we go again. Then I wanted to say at one of the airports, the airport that I said had the mosaic ceilings, that has got to be, I've gone to a lot of airports. That was probably the friendliest airport I've ever been to. Everybody there was so helpful and spoke. Anyway, I'm not going to go into detail, but they were all so helpful and really, really good and polite and nice, and it was just really a great experience being in there. So anyway, I wanted to sit with my laptop at the table, and it was at a cafe, so I'm like, well, let me buy coffee or something. So I didn't understand their money. I don't even remember the name of their money. And that was the first time I've been in that airport. And then I said, well, I don't even know how much. Then how much is a cup of coffee you want? I said, how much is coffee? And she said $5. But if you want milk inside of it, it's $6. But if you have the milk on the outside, it's $5. And I started laughing. I said, you're joking, right? And she started laughing. She goes, no, actually, I'm not joking. And then we both started laughing because that sounded ridiculous. And so I go, well, I guess I'll have coffee with the milk on the outside of the glass. I can pour my own milk for $1 savings, and then I said, she goes, oh, $5 is a lot for coffee, huh? And I said, well, in US, you can pay $5 for coffee some places, but the milk is always free, whether it's inside or outside. And she started laughing. So that was kind of funny. So you guys figured it out yet? How many airports have I been to? And I'm still awake. I hardly slept in 2 days. I would have thought I would have makeup on by now, but because I was so sick on that last flight, I couldn't even make a video. It's crazy. I'm just happy to be alive and kicking and still going. That line at least was painless compared to most of the lines. It looks like we're getting on the plane now, so I'll check back in soon. More lines. And now it's nighttime. My time zones are jacked. Totally jacked. Well, let's see how this flight goes. And we're off again. I was eating this, and this man in front of me turned around and looked at me like I was crunching way too loud. That was so weird, because listen to how loud this plane engine is. How can you even hear somebody crunch? Like bionic ear, Brit, or what? I didn't hear one person crunch their crackers. But apparently, bionic ears over here did. It's really strange. I think that's very funny. This is the man that thought I was crunching too loud. I don't know, guys, if I should eat this. I got totally sick on the last flight on something that came in a similar dish. I was so sick on that last flight. I haven't even told you about it yet. And I have no idea what that is. I'm really scared. I'm not so sure I can do this. Really scared. Really scared. I was very, very sick. I'll wait till you hear the story about that one. I was just telling you about my food, and he had to turn around and stare at me again. It was really weird. Homer, remember the brown sticky balls? Well, this is a yellow, not so sticky ball. It's kind of interesting.
इस विमान के कप्तान राणा सिंह और क्रू की ओर से आप सभी को धन्यवाद। आशा है कि आपकी यात्रा सुखद रही और आप हमें फिर से सेवा का अवसर देंगे। धन्यवाद। Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Indira Gandhi International Airport Terminal 3 Delhi. Temperature outside is 93 Celsius. Local time is 5:50 AM. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated. Be careful while opening the overhead compartments and ensure that you have taken all your personal belongings. Aircraft has turned away from the active runway. Guests who would like to use their mobile phones can do so now. For latest information, special offers and future travel reservations, do visit our website jetairways.com. On behalf of Captain Rana Singh, my crew and I, Shivali, would like to thank you for choosing to fly Jet Airways, and we look forward to you and welcoming you on board soon. To all our international guests, welcome to India, and fellow Indians, welcome home.
So, another stopping place. It's about 6 AM. I think I haven't slept more than 3 hours in the last 2 days. We'll say 4 hours in the last 3 days. Okay, we'll see what this brings.
Get inspired and live your dream. Change your life, set yourself free with Cindy. Yeah, join Cindy. Travel through Egypt, see the blue Nile, Sahara Desert, open up your mind. Have an adventure in the deep Red Sea. Get your dose of spirituality. Get inspired, live your dream. Change your life, set yourself free with Cindy. Yeah, join Cindy. Get inspired and live your dream. Change your life, set yourself free with Cindy. Yeah, join Cindy.